Hello,
I'm sorry,
family,
did I
friends,
get a
fans, and
countdown?
fellow adventurers. God damn it.
Totally threw Mitch off.
Welcome back to Practical Heroes with our second flagship campaign, The Sands of Syldaris, set in the pretty much entirely homebrew world of Erroth, where last time you guys continued your exploration of the city of Hapetra. You made your way to the cracked monolith, where Rip entered his fist deep inside the crack before nearly being sucked off.
Why don't you say it like that?
But Linga was fortunately able to dismiss him before anything bad happened. She was also able, as was Chester, to discover that the monolith appears to be a large piece of orichalcum fused with stone, which is interesting given that orichalcum is metal. Not solid stone, as the monolith is. But after your investigations of the monolith concluded, noting that there was a very large ley line running through the centre of Hapetra, you made your way to the debate hall, where you saw an intense debate going on as to whether a strange new power to the Silent Isles should be listened to, adhered to, or followed. With this debate being led by someone calling themselves Gunark Glory Speaker. A tall, very thin elf. Very tall, very thin elf. After a little back and forth, you invited him to the Verdant Goblet, where you were planning to scope out and get some more information. and you found out from the sounds of the chairs that he was quite possibly bigger than he looked, with Linga discovering that he was actually a Minotaur in an illusory disguise, which is, of course, as Lindsay knows, not uncommon for a member of the Maze Guild, as Chester was able to figure out from the emblem on the necklace that this Gunark was wearing. There was a little bit of flirtation with Gwynlyn Goblinbreaker, the Dwergar, who unfortunately was not able to have any fun with Chester because Warden broke the news to her that Chester was not quite ready for that yet. But you do have a note of her name and the room that she's staying in, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case. There were some revelations from Warden about the fact that Belyka was actually pretty much destroyed before he left. So it's a little weird that it's back now. And you all saw a very large tower towering over the town of Belyka. And you were told that there is a person there who calls themselves the Tower, and they seem to be operating out of Belyka. It's so crazy how all this stuff is
How
happening.
that works.
There's a tower who lives in the tower.
Yo, dog, we heard you like towers.
I got you a tower in the
Your
tower.
branding, your branding both scatters and confuses me.
There was some discussion of Warden potentially being the first of a number of experiments, and some revelations that armies of constructs were supposedly attacking other locations in the Silent Isle. And with that, you decided it might be best to have a look at Belyka and see what's going on and maybe help out the Maze Guild with their investigations. And that was where we had left off. So, as Gunark took his leave and you settled on heading to Belyka, you are still in the Verdant Goblet. What would you guys like to do?
Did we go to sleep? Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do if you want to.
Yeah, I thought we did. I thought we.
I sure did, yeah.
Then
yeah,
yes,
that's
you did.
when Linger did her book thing.
Yes, that is
Everyone
right.
sleepings.
I somehow completely managed to forget about that. You went for a long rest.
Yeah.
And Linger sat down,
Wait, where's
and
where's
was
Shard?
approached by Rip, who found himself overtaken by a spirit that shared Linger's book, which, after being coaxed out of Rip and back into the book, revealed itself to be a portion of the spirit of none other than the Grand Wizard Syldaris, for this was once his spellbook.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
He
just a
needs to
note
use
stuck
better
in there.
ink.
There's just a note.
If
It's
lost,
like a-
please return to Syldaris.
Do not use my spells.
123 P Wallaby Way, Sydney, Australia.
We've gotta go. You thought this was Sansa Syldaris. Just kidding. It's just finding Syldaris.
Yes.
The sands were the friendships we made along the way.
Okay,
Exactly. So, everyone else wakes up the following morning. Linger does not,
I
for
slept for
Linger
a
never
s-
sleeps, nor does Warden.
I slept for such a long time.
So
It was
long.
Everything.
Yeah, you
Oh,
feel
what a
like you've
shame
slept
that,
for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a shame that our bardic buddy didn't go off with Gwendolyn
Yes, because that would have been
Slayer.
a great way to explain him not being here today.
Yeah.
Right. Well, way to fuck that up, Chester. Just kidding.
God, Chester. Trying to keep your propriety or whatever.
Trying to just heal yourself after a really
Yeah.
bad relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's
Just
gonna
take a
heal that
voice down.
relationship? Murder.
A new relation. Oh. I did not think you were going to say murder. I won't disagree with you, but I did not. I really did not.
I mean, that's what Linger would say, which is murder is the best way to get over it.
Mhm.
Lindsay's like, that's
And-
what Linger would say. You're
Is this Linger in the room with us?
I just want to talk.
I just want to talk.
Your Honor, my client was clearly role-playing. It was just a massive LARP, Your Honor.
Shut the fuck up. I hate you.
Oh, there you
yeah,
go. I was
right.
gonna say.
Mitch is a lawyer.
Mitch is a lawyer. He's a barrister.
No,
Does it
I'm
think
not a
Real
barrister.
estate.
He's not a barrister.
You do real estate law, right?
Yes, I'm training to be a
Yeah.
conveyancer, which is much more exciting than doing actual law.
Conveyancer.
Do you
Um,
not get to wear like the little powdered wig and like?
No, I get to sit in an office and look through someone's
Aw.
contract before they buy a house.
Aw.
Can
Oh,
you
I
least wear a
love
wig in the
it.
office?
Can we buy
Only
you a
on
wig?
Fridays.
We'll buy you a wig, Mitch.
I'll get you. a
We'll
wig.
make this happen.
When you get full conveyancer, we'll buy you a wig.
You know, you don't have to.
Well, we can.
No, we do.
Don't worry. I'll
Not
get
that
your
I don't
address from Ronnie.
appreciate it, but like, you know.
Mitch is
Well,
like,
you won't necessarily.
please don't.
Thanks,
get
but
it.
don't.
Thanks. I hate it.
Thanks.
Well, the good news is we probably won't get you just a normal white wig with the things. It'll be special.
Yeah. It'll be from Amazon.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be made of the finest Chinesium.
What is wrong with you? Go leave.
I'm gonna get you one like my favorite TikToker. It goes by Dan D. And he's amazing.
I see.
I will
Send us
find.
some dandy stuff.
Oh, I will. I love Dan D. They are my favorite by
I'm
far.
just going to quickly switch to my hotspot because my internet's hardcore suffering. You're all in slow motion. So
we
that's
deserve
fun.
that.
Ooh.
Keep an eye on the stream and let me know if it goes down while I'm switching.
Yeah,
I
someone
had
did. He's like, yeah, I had to close that.
I did because my computer was like, I don't know, it's
Chugging.
just not been happy lately. Well, I haven't upgraded it in like two years, so I'm sure that's like a million years in computers.
Yeah,
So
I need to get a new fan or
I've
something.
got to download some more RAM.
Oh, yeah. Let's give Twitch a refresh and see if the stream went down because it doesn't look like it did, but at least you're all now in
I think I'm the
full
only
motion.
person.
Yeah, I don't care about Apex Legends Twitch.
I know, right? Well, now 4 of us are viewing it, and I think 3 of us are Mitch, me, and Ethan.
Technically, mine doesn't count as a view because I'm just watching it from the creator dashboard on the stream preview. Cool.
We have to
We-
get Mitch one of these wigs.
But it looks like
Yeah.
it stayed up. So that's always a positive sign when it stays up, am I right? Anyway,
Hey.
you wake up the following morning. Linger has her spellbook out. Mura rolls out of bed with a slight hangover for some reason. And
No, too
Warden
much orange juice.
reactivates.
This is the bath
Chester
bomb powder got in her lungs.
Is gone.
She's got bath long.
So what would you guys like to do?
Well, obviously, we need to spend the entire time trying to locate Chester. This is
Natural.
This
Really?
cannot stand.
This can't stand.
You can hear vaguely bugbear noises coming from one of the nearby bedrooms.
Oh, he's just needing more sleeps. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what's going on in there. Uh-huh.
I believe he is suffering from a broken heart.
Yeah.
Oh, again?
Yes.
Still?
I do hear depression does make people sleepy, so perhaps he just needs a little more time.
Do you think he has depression?
I was
feel
like,
it might
man,
be
imagine being
contagious.
depressed. Couldn't be me.
We're gonna have to handle that. I mean, we can't handle that. The internal work that he's gonna have to do, but
But for now, we'll let him rest and then, you know, deal with it after that.
Okay. So what are you guys doing then?
oh no. I'm looking
Well-
at this stream and only Midge is moving. Ethan's frozen. Okay.
Okay.
No.
It might be because of the delay, because it's still going to be a minute behind because I turned that delay on.
Okay.
Because it's just taking it straight from Zoom, where I believe...
Oh wow, it's really far behind.
There we go. Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me.
It's at the part right now where we were talking about real estate law.
Cool.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Okay. Anyway. Sorry.
So yeah, what are you guys doing?
How did everybody sleep or not sleep or power down or, you know, what we all do? I slept great. I have a little bit of an OJ hangover. But, well, too much. I think
Too
we
much
just call
vitamin
that-
C.
Yeah, too much. How are you guys?
I'm fine right now.
Okay, but you tell me if you weren't, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
What do you mean?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, that's just Badger being an asshole.
Yeah. Warden's like, I'm joshing. It's fine.
You're just like, makes sense.
All right. Well, had a lot of time to think last night. It felt like roughly 2 weeks worth of time to think. Since Chester seems to be needing some time for himself, we could spend the morning securing a way to Belyka, or perhaps doing a little more groundwork on finding rumors or trace information about New Belyka. I have some things in my book I need to mull over a bit more before I do anything with that.
Okay.
That is. Do you suppose they have one of those rune forge places here?
Hmm.
Let's see if they have.
They're everywhere, right?
I consult with the elder gods. Mitch, do I know?
They're everywhere.
What would you know if there's a runestone forge presence in Hapetra?
Yes.
Yes.
Give me a history check.
There it is.
11.
11.
Well, you think back to kind of what you know and remember about your homeland. In terms of thieves guilds or anything like that, you don't remember any mention of a runestone forge. It could just be that rumors never reached you. They certainly weren't active in Belyka, but you may not have been overly familiar potentially with Hapetra and its inner workings. You would quite possibly, however, have heard here and there mention of a different thieves guild that is seen around the Silent Isles on Silent Isle on occasion,
There's
which
one.
is the Golden Circle.
Hmm.
But apart from that, you don't remember a huge amount about them. If only there were a rogue with you.
If only.
If only.
If only the connections man were here.
Yeah, that's gonna be the problem today. So,
We don't got no connections today.
You got the brain cells today, you just don't have the charisma.
Hey!
I'm joking, Mira has the charisma.
the sneaky
Mira got the
charisma.
riz.
I've got all the riz. I've got the drip and the riz. All right, kids. Like, find out, pick new words, because I've ruined them.
All right, what about some sort of library or museum? Is there a museum to the Holy Tower of Belyka and the conquest thereof? Free admission from 7 to 5, Monday
Without
through Friday.
even needing to roll, Warden would absolutely know that famously there is quite a large library in Hapetra. One of few significant libraries on the Silent Isles. Not that they don't have libraries elsewhere, it's just that it's sort of like the grand central library is at Hapetra. And
What about
museum-wise, it would be more about the Silent Isle as a whole, or Hapetra as a
Okay.
whole.
all right? What about like a creative discovery museum or a hands-on museum? You know, like a museum that's like for little kids,
I love
where there's
those.
like, you know, there's like a sand pit they can dig up dinosaur bones
Yeah.
Museum.
Sure,
and like a hall of mirrors.
That would be perfect for
fun.
Mura.
I
Yeah.
love
it's a whole of Miras.
So there's like learning involved, but it's fun and it's dialed down to like lower.
Because Linga needs to bring her
intelligence
children with her.
levels. Yeah. So is there that?
Yeah,
Can-
sure.
Is there like a children's wing that Mira can go to help so that like she might actually be able to find something that
Sure.
yeah, sweet.
It's the Museum of Natural Hapestry.
Tapestry.
Literally, you
Hapetra.
could probably just leave Mira at a sandbox. You might lose her, but you could leave her there. She'd be fine. You could tell her that there are bones there and you need to dig up, and she'd be like, "Oh God," and just spend forever.
Who put these bones here, says Mira. Begins a full
Uncovers
investigation.
multiple dead bodies that people didn't even know were buried there. They're
Linger
just
comes
somehow
back.
there.
Yeah. Linger comes back and she's like, "I found the bones." And Linger's like, "What?" Again, sandbox.
Come back and Mira's like, "Did you know there was a lamprey way down in here? It's been snatching people for decades."
I handle it, don't worry.
But yeah, there are libraries, there are museums, both adult and kid friendly.
Now,
We
before
pride
we go down
ourselves
that
here on
route,
children's education.
excellent, excellent. So before we go down that road, do we have any other ideas for info gathering? Do we want to go the rumor route? Go talk to people? Spend the episode shopping?
Well, we can just
Maybe
get on the road to Belyka, right? Like, we just, like,
You could.
tell Chester to just, like, meet us there.
Oh, okay, yeah, we could do that. He's got long legs. Maybe he can do one of those ley line Bampy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or there are portal scrolls, which are good fun. Available now at your local general store.
How much?
How much?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Let's have a look for you. Book. City and Wild. Contents.
Like, we just specifically need one that's dialed to us so that we can just give it to him and it just wherever.
Equipment and stores. Here we go.
It cost exactly MacGuffin dollars.
Exactly. But also just for future reference in general anyway. A portal scroll, which of course Linger is telling you all about as you're discussing different ways of going about these things. I will... Screw it, I'll add the section to your journal so you guys have a note about portal scrolls. It is a common magical item, so stands to reason Linger absolutely knows what they are. It is an action to read. It allows you to teleport to a linked permanent teleportation circle rather than actual people. But it's
no help.
like an incredibly minor version of teleportation circle, and then by extension teleportation.
Well, that doesn't help us at all.
No, unless he were to teleport directly to Belyka.
Yeah, but we don't know that we'll get there in time.
Just by himself in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like suddenly there's a very dapper and dashing bugbear in the middle of Belyka. All hell breaks loose. What's he gonna do, poor guy?
I don't see an issue with that personally.
And we're still like 3 days away. He gets turned into a cyborg.
Yeah.
That would be
It's our
cool.
fault.
Robo Chester.
Hello.
You should get a say in that, you know?
Yeah. Does he want to be Robochester?
Who knows?
He's pretty fond of his
Body.
Yeah.
I've also added
So was I.
the section.
Poor guy.
Oh, you're fucking proud of that one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be?
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, no, I have added the new adventuring gear section from my book to your journals so that you can at any point go and have a look at a bunch of new stuff that's technically available to you.
From
at
my
any
book to
good
your
store.
journals.
Including the dictionary, which is a favorite item of mine that I've added in. You can buy dictionaries for languages to fill in blanks rather than just having stuff that I throw at you that no one knows how to translate. Because imagine that. Imagine doing something in a campaign and being told it's in a language that no one can speak or understand, but it's vital that you know what's going on. Imagine that being a thing. Imagine doing that.
God, who would do that?
Why
Who would do
wouldn't
that?
you just make it in a link?
I mean, yes, but
This
also
is
by
why-
extension, it then means you know that you can go out and buy a dictionary rather than being like, well, there's nothing we can do about this. Or, you know,
Yeah.
you can,
Oh,
in my
man.
world, find people that can translate it for you.
I agree.
Anyway.
I think that
Or
This is
just
why
let
I always
let your
say draconic.
characters. Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
draconic.
Well, sometimes it's
giant
primordial, and sometimes that primordial, it's not the primordial that you know. You know new primordial. This is old primordial. You don't know old primordial.
it's always
Which by the very primordial, how can there be a new primordial? First of all, oh, stupid ass son of a bitch. Anyway.
All right.
Whew.
You good?
So,
You okay?
libraries, huh?
We learned
should get
about
dictionaries.
portal scrolls and dictionaries. Okay, I've added that to our notes.
Cool. So what are you guys doing then? What's the plan?
I lost the plot, honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm still back at kids' museums. I'm still stuck there mentally.
Well, I guess that's going to be what we're doing. It's either go to the kids' museum or get on the road. Which do you want to do?
It's up
Do we
to
wanna
you,
try to-
Ethan, because it's your backstory.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind getting more kind of background info. So,
Okay.
Okay. Speaking
Kid
of,
museum question.
Warden. Speaking of, can you roll me a d20 real quick?
oh yeah, totally.
Uh-oh.
Just a random d20. I can totally do that. I won't suspect a thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, just a nice calm 19. Sure, it means nothing.
Ooh. Vibing
Um,
at 19.
Yeah, so as you guys are just having a little conversation, Warden, your head starts getting a little bit fuzzy. Almost like you can feel kind of static in the back of your mind. And there's kind of like a brief flash, almost. You can hear talking. You hear voices. You can kind of, for a brief second, you close your eyes and you can see your back on the stone slab, chained down, ready for the first testing. You can't quite move your head because your head is strapped down, but you can hear just to the side. Clearly, they thought it was quiet enough that you wouldn't hear, but murmuring of, should he be allowed to keep them? Perhaps if we tinker with the memories, see what we can do. And you're back in the room with Mira and Linger.
You guys were probably hear his armor shudder.
Ah.
Hear the armored plates rattle against each other.
Whoa, are you okay? What happened?
I am fine. I'm here.
You're metal.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. You don't have to apologize for that, but I never heard that before.
I think I went somewhere else for a second.
Oh, I understand.
Got a good old
that.
case of the willies.
I've forgotten, what is the weather like here? Is it hot or is it cold?
Pretty hot.
He's hot.
Okay. It's hot.
He's warm.
Yeah, it's
I could not remember.
yeah, it's like Mediterranean, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Greek island hot.
Oh, that's right, because we wear skirts.
Yes. There's a nice cooling breeze most of the time, but it's still, regardless of that, quite noticeably hotter than mainland Azif.
It's Greek island hot. All right, these notes are very important to me now. For now.
Mhm.
So what's the plan, guys?
Okay. We're gonna go to a museum, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
Linger's gonna go to the mommy branch, and Mira can go to the kids branch, and Warden can decide for himself where he would like to go. But I want Linger to be able to, or not, I'm sorry, I want Mira to be able to go to the kids branch and actually have an opportunity to learn something, and not just we're kicking her to the silly part for no reason.
Uh-huh.
No, you can
That's
kick
fine.
her to the silly part.
No,
that's
These
fine.
are my demands.
These are my
You
demands.
learn stuff at kids museums. I
Oh,
learn
sure.
stuff at kids museums.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. You head to the closest museum.
Yes. Mhm.
Because that's the logical place to start.
Yes.
Um,
And it turns out it's just the Lego museum, and we're like, no, this is the wrong one. We don't need this.
Oh my god.
Hapetra, home of Lego.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
down
the
the
Lego
road is
Museum.
like the Hapetra International Towing Museum, and they're like, no, not that one. Gotta keep going.
But yes, you head to one of the museums. It's quite an interesting building in and of itself. It's this kind of large, 3-story kind of stone and timber building. That's kind of almost the design is like it's kind of 3 blocks that have been placed on top of each other and just sequentially get smaller as they go up. And kind of pointing or sticking out rather of the top block is a very large spyglass like construction, which one might be inclined to think is a telescope, like an
Wow.
observatory.
Does this one have a planetarium? Because I love going to planetarium.
Oh,
I would say it's quite easy for Linger to assume, given that there's a very large telescope sticking out the top. It's entirely likely that the top floor may be a planetarium. Or at the very least,
we're going to the...
what we can do for a planetarium in the Mitchverse.
Linger can do plenty with a planetarium. We got magic, baby.
Mitch space.
Mitch is like,
Um,
Mitch is like, I was not ready for planetarium today. There's
No,
so many
he
things
was
I
not.
planned for, and planetarium is not one of them.
I love a
um,
planetarium.
but yes, you enter into the museum. Can you all give me a very quick perception check?
Sure. I have to get out of my notes.
Oh, I gotta pick my fucking warlock spells. Fuck, 17.
I even told you this as well.
I
Or-
know. I put it on my fucking to-do list.
I think Warren's still a little out of it.
Yes, that makes sense. But you got a nat 1, so you get inspiration.
Here you go, buddy.
Nice.
So it's a 16 for Linger and a 2 for Rip.
You remember I have like 3 inspirations.
Rip is still recovering from the events of the previous night,
Yes.
clinging onto Linger's horn and shuddering.
A lot of shuddering today.
Mura and Linger. Mura with the perception for once, damn.
I'm perceptive.
Woo! She was
I
singing.
notice things.
You both just kind of cast an eye around as you enter the museum, and everyone's dead. As you kind of head towards the entrance, it's similar scenes to what you're starting to get used to in this city. There are a pair of guards kind of inside, so just as you enter in through the main door. One of the guards you saw the previous day guarding or looking over the cracked monolith alongside Gwynlyn, not Gwynlyn, one of the other guards that was with her. The other one you would also recognize from the airship dock, the small Dwergar, or, well, buff Dwergar, with the hammer and the very Spartan armor. And they're just kind of looking over people as they enter in, sizing them up, and kind of as you approach, they kind of hold out a hand, and the Dwergar steps towards Warden. Terribly sorry, sir, but we would request that you hand your weapon in at the front desk. For safety.
Very well. And he will he'll hand it a sword.
10 minutes later, he's finished pulling all of his weapons out of his bags. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Pulls off one of the boots. Daggers come
safety.
pouring out.
For safety, I feel much more safe with my weapons, but
it is for everyone else's safety rather than your own, unfortunately.
Goddamn right.
You're in full armor, and you look like you can take care of yourself, so hopefully you will still feel safe, knowing that other people are similarly unarmed.
Alright.
Yeah, but what if they have like a permit to like carry it in concealing style?
Only guards are allowed to carry weapons inside the museum.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
We do not have a concealed carry law here in Hapetra because we are civilized.
Oh man, you better start an argument.
Goodbye, half of any American fan base that we may have had until now. It was nice having you around.
Ethan's about to quit.
I'm in my happy place, don't worry.
I'm sorry.
I'm good.
I'm just British. I can't help it. We have to take digs at Americans whenever we can.
I mean, I take digs at Americans, so we're good.
Especially, all the gun laws, when we're like, we're so much better because we don't have those gun laws, and then, everyone's just constantly getting stabbed over here instead. How's the view up on that high horse? I don't know, there's a dagger in my face.
Favorite British pastime, stabbings.
Yeah, we have a lot of
Jay in the
laws
background was
about...
just like, stabbings.
We have a lot of laws about people being able to buy kitchen knives and any other knives in our country. Because once they started banning all the other stuff, gang people were just buying kitchen knives and being like, I'm a chef, bro. And then stabbing
They
each
have
other.
laws about kitchen knives?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
They're
gonna be
age restricted.
pretty bad.
And very well restricted in general.
I know a lot of HEMA historical fencing YouTubers who are having tons of issues with that because they can't get new fencing swords. Even if they're the blunt
There's been a very big
spatulated-
crackdown recently that's changed one of the laws, which means you can't even get someone got taken to court recently and they were like, it is a movie replica weapon that we sell on our website that is very clearly not intended to be used, and the argument that was made against them was, it's a Jason Voorhees machete, and anyone who's seen the film will therefore want to murder people with it like he does, and they were like, sir, it's blunt, it's a movie replica, you're crazy. But anyway...
You think it's so funny? My uncle got stabbed with one of these during the War of Roses.
Shut up. Wow, you about killed Mitch with that one.
They wish they had machetes during the War of the Roses.
My hold this close as an emotional sports sword.
Yeah,
There you
absolutely. But yeah, you are admitted into the museum. Warden's sword is handed over to the front desk, and he is given a small piece of paper with a number written on it to collect it later.
Linger finds this all very silly.
They handed me this piece of paper.
Now they're unarmed.
They handed me this piece of paper, and it says, I am number 69. And then the clerk said, nice. I don't know what he means by this.
Mm. It's a very lucky number, I believe. That's something to do with astrology. I'm not sure.
Something to do with Uranus.
Yeah.
I know you
They
didn't
mispronounced it though. The blessing is noise, and they should have.
I should have known this.
Noise.
So, the museum.
The museum. We're
All of our viewers were.
Well, we're doing a bad job actually playing D&D today.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, we're having a rough one, aren't we?
So, you head into the museum.
We do that with pride
there
and
are-
intention.
There are a few kind of sections that you are able to go to. There is, it's termed the younger learning section. And then there is kind kind of an entrance to a brief history of Erroth, or there is an entrance up the stairs to the next level, which is about the flora and fauna of the Silent Isles, or all the way up to the top where there is the planetarium and observatory.
All right, well, I guess Linger will start with a stop by the flora and fauna higher learning area.
So up on the second floor.
Yeah.
Cool.
See, it's higher, so it's higher learning.
Yes.
That's what I was going, yeah.
Absolutely.
Mira, you're muted or something, ma'am.
Oh yeah, I know, because Jay was talking to me about like Jay's yeah, he was like, I want to take this car. Like we have his mom's car, so he's like, I don't want to take my mom's car, I want to take our car. And I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It looked like you were looking at the camera and talking, and I was like, oh.
I was looking at the screen and trying to remember what spells I already had, so I didn't pick them again. Anyway, sorry. Where did I go? Where I'm going to the sandbox.
The younger learning section.
Yeah, Linger suggests dividing and conquering the facilities.
Okay. Where does Warden want to go then? Or is Warden going with Linger or Mura? Are we semi-dividing or fully dividing?
I think Warden will go with Mura.
Okay.
I think he's still got a little bit of the willies, so he's just kind of following along.
Fair enough.
She wants to look at everything that's in the younger learning section.
Okay. You follow the flow of children accompanied by various adults as your accompanying adult heads upstairs to the flora and fauna.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
Mira and Warden just look like fucking Billy Madison. Like, there's a shit ton of kids, and they're just like these two adults. Like, clearly. Oh, man.
But you head in, and this is a much more kind of interactive history of the Silent Isle. So I would like both of you, please, to...
Oh, God.
Just roll d20s for me, why not?
Okay. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
Buddies. The first section that you head through, whilst it is somewhat interactive, is unfortunately for the both of you quite boring. Warden's mind is elsewhere, and Mira, it's quite boring. It's talking about kind of the early days of the Silent Isle, and tribes of savage orcs that existed and were ruling the Isle before
What?
more civilized humans came along and did what they do best and infected it with their human infestation and spread. Elves came over, caused a few more issues. And the early settlements of the Silent Isles began to be established to sort of start claiming areas of land. But with that, we head upstairs as Linger reaches the flora and fauna of the Silent Isle, which, while still somewhat interactive, there are some displays. There's kind of fossils on display of kind of early bones of early creatures, early plants that have kind of been pressed into fossilized rock, that are touchable but very firmly rooted into their displays, and touchable with caution. You would probably In fact, let's also make you roll a d20. Let's be fair. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it is of note that Linger isn't touching shit. That's gross. Other people touch that. But Rip will do the touching for her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because you can just bap him into the little pocket plane and it decontaminates. You can bop him back.
That, and it's well known that germs are scared of Rip.
They are. What am I doing? Just a d20, right?
Yes.
Okay. 16.
16. It's quite an interesting display. The flora and fauna section. There is kind of almost like a rough timeline showing kind of early fossils of various flora and fauna that do still exist to this day, but obviously in new forms, more evolved forms. I think what would potentially catch Linger's eye is a discussion about a quarter of the way in, where there's kind of various plaques which make mention of the kind of early dinosaurs that used to roam the Silent Isle before being hunted to extinction. Before
Oh, Warden.
Yes. Before at a certain still contested point towards the end of the first era, it is generally agreed that a wizard, name undisclosed, experimenting with time magic, managed to not only take themselves back in time, but bring some of the flora and fauna from previous time back with them and reintroduce it to the Silent Isle, unfortunately including dinosaurs, which began to spread a little bit further around the Isle before, obviously, whilst it's not necessarily massively explored by other cultures and influences from kind of wider Erroth, those who did make it over to the Silent Isle were certainly very interested in taking some of these things back home with them and trying to introduce it into their continents and countries. And there is a working theory that this is how many dinosaurs were reintroduced into wider Erroth and how they exist elsewhere, although there are also notes that that is completely and utterly preposterous, and it's more likely that some of them just simply continued to exist on these other continents. There is also some mention of kind of minerals and materials that are available in the Silent Isle, which again became one of the reasons that people started coming over in the first place. There is discussion that somewhat deep under the surface of the Silent Isle is is kind of large cave systems that are often either entirely formed out of or have large areas of a material referred to as eternal ice, which comes in very handy in various areas around the Silent Isle. The idea is it's this, and there is kind of a small kind of 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot cube of eternal ice on display. And it's this kind of whitish blue block of ice. And whilst you can see there's kind of that kind of water vapor steam curling off it, it doesn't seem to be melting in any way. And there are several plaques detailing how eternal ice is referred to as eternal ice because it is magically enhanced naturally and able to resist very high temperatures and therefore doesn't melt in normal conditions. So a lot of the buildings in the Silent Isle actually incorporate eternal ice into their design to help keep the building cool during hotter seasons. There's also mention of kind of large availability of leaf weave, which is not uncommon for the rest of Azith as a whole. The leaves that are used to create leaf weave are quite prevalent around the primary Gulf of Erroth. And apart from that, there's quite wide availability of dark wood, which is like normal wood, but much lighter and can be used as a replacement for metal in certain armors. So there's a display that shows a set of this kind of full plate wooden armor worn by a now dead but once very famous archdruid, who famously rode into battle atop a large brown bear wearing full wooden plate armor.
Cool.
Outside of that, similarly, there's a couple of kind of chunks of other minerals on display. There is a lump of solid orichalcum, and it's quite widely agreed that whilst the number of settlements have dwindled, there was once a very large orcish presence on the Silent Isle, quite possibly due to the abundance of orichalcum that was once available. A lot of their armor and weapons was made from orichalcum, and it posed a lot of trouble for invading forces or invading mages, because these orcs were then fabled to be able to just absorb magic that was being thrown at them. And it just sort of kind of continues in this fashion, talking about other materials that are available in the Silent Isles that are also available elsewhere, but those are the most abundant on the Silent Isle.
So just, what was that about? What was on the orcs?
Orichalcum.
Okay.
The same material that the cracked monolith was potentially made out of.
Sorry. Trying to take notes and keep up at the same time.
That's all right.
Okay. That's cool. I don't know if this anything specifically now that she's kind of done like an overview. Actually, I don't think there would be anything on this level.
Depends. What are you keeping an eye out for?
Well, I know. Let me finish my thought. Jesus, such in a hurry. I mean, obviously, she's always kind of got an eye out for like potential alchemical supplies and stuff, but that's covered in what we've already talked about. But anything specifically about Belyka, since that's where we're going, I don't know that this section
Not
would
on this
really
section,
have
no.
any. Yeah, that's why I was like, not on this one. But when she gets up to the next floor, there could potentially be something. Even though it's more about stars and planets and stuff, you never know. There might be some like, here's the constellation of the Tower of Belyka, who is, you all know from the story of the Tower of Belyka.
Hey guys, there's a tower here.
Legend has it.
Captain
The
America
man
walks
who
on,
got
spins the
married.
chair around.
Yeah.
So you want to learn about the tower, huh?
Yeah. That's what we're hoping for.
Well, those sorts of informational videos are downstairs with the children, unfortunately. But they could potentially be read about upstairs. But yeah, no, so my thought process was tell you guys what's gone on so far and then throw it over to you to see if there's anything specific people are keeping an eye out for. as you continue to have a look around. So we have an inkling as to what Linger's looking for. Is Warden keeping an eye out for anything specific?
I think he might be. I feel like he already knows most of what he's saying, you know, obviously, because he's from here. Maybe he's looking for something for, like, inspiration, if that makes sense, you know? Like, he's looking for something familiar in a way.
Okay. That makes sense. Mura, unfortunately, has vanished into the crowd. The sea of children.
Put the leash on her. Can't take her to these places without the backpack leash.
Yeah, we need the backpack leash, exactly like those froggy ones.
Yeah.
Seeing as she's not here right now, we'll handle the warden stuff. Give me, please, an investigation check.
Mitch, do they sell the froggy backpack leashes in the gift shop here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, 4, I'm afraid.
You do have 3 inspirations.
Oh, that's true, yeah. But I literally said, yeah, I should remember I have those. How much, is inspiration a reroll, or?
It is indeed.
Okay. I'm sure if we're going off Baldur's Gate rules here. It's a 7.
Basically, yeah. Excellent.
Do you want me to could throw another one?
I mean, you can if you want.
All right,
I'm not going to force you into it all.
No, this is one of those checks I've decided I'm not going to fail. There we go, 19.
Cool. So as Mura reappears from disappearing in the crowd, Warden is having a look around. You can kind of see as you're walking around there is kind of various displays of developments in armor over the years. I think would probably catch Warden's eye at one point. Kind of going from, and it's somewhat familiar to you. You know, you probably might have seen some of the older armor, if any, was still kind of floating around available for you to be able to see, but you certainly would have been told about it. And it's quite interesting to note kind of, it starts off quite primitive and very orcish in style and nature, very similar to that kind of orcish armor from the ones who were here first. And then you can kind of see as the human influence starts to seep into the armor, it starts protecting more of the squishy human parts. And then you can kind of see as it starts to develop into more of the kind of standard Silent Isle style that you're more used to, where it's turning into this kind of almost Spartan style armor. This very kind of Greco-Roman influence, with kind of the lovely big plumes on the helmets of the captains, and somewhat interestingly towards the end starting to develop very similar armor styles to Warden's armor. Since which time there has been 1 or 2 more advancements as kind of arcana mechanics becomes a bit more prevalent, and people have kind of brought it over from other areas of Erroth, seeing kind of early designs of quick release armor where a guard can kind of come off duty for the day and press a button on the armor and the armor just drops off, basically, so they can quickly change out of their armor. And then kind of the developments trying to establish it, so the same can be done for putting the armor back on. And that has all been brought over from wider Erroth as opposed to from the Silent Isle itself, and you can very much see there is outside influence in some of these later armor designs, but still keeping a lot of that original Silent Isle style, because you got to adapt it for the climate. It's all well and good wearing Halador Isle's full plate, but all of that fur will kill you over here. There is kind of towards the end of this display, there is what appears to be a sword in kind of multiple fragmented pieces in a display case on the wall, and a small plaque in front of it, which tells you that it is all of the pieces of the sword that they were able to recover from the last valiant hero who died trying to defend Belyka from destruction.
It's not Enduril, is it?
No.
Okay, thank
It's
God.
broken in the same exact pattern.
Yeah.
It's always fucking Enduril.
You turn around,
Come on, guys.
Gandalf's there. Order.
Shut up.
I'm not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you.
You're thinking Miro to Isengard.
No!
Mira,
Hi.
is there anything in particular you're looking out for down here?
I hate to say no, but I think Mira is just here for the vibes a little bit. She is really just here to help her friends.
Mhm.
So I guess she's like particularly, I guess if everybody's looking for things about Belyka, she probably is too, because she wants to be helpful. So yeah.
Give me an investigation check, Mira.
Okay. Still haven't added those spells, Stephanie. We're doing great. That's a 6.
6.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Is it excellent though?
Mura gets very distracted by one of the displays where you can piece together a model replica of Hapetra before the walls.
Oh fuck, that's cool.
Says Mura as
Okay.
she sits down.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. She elbows a kid out of the way. No, I'm joking. She would never. But the image in
Move,
my
kid.
mind is, yeah, move. This is for adults. This is the person with an IQ of 7. Well, she waits her turn. Like a normal person.
As Warden's making his way along the armor display.
He just lingers over. Oh, hey, linger. He just stops like in front of another like T-visor helmet that's like perfectly at eye level, and his reflection in the glass like matches the helmet. He's having a moment.
God, I love these things, says Warden.
That
Mira's
man
trying to
had
use
style.
It had style.
He's
Mira's
me.
for real, for real.
For real, for real.
Meanwhile, Mira's having a really hard time with this model. Some like 8-year-old comes over and is like, "That's where the block goes," and she's like, "No, it's my turn."
Meanwhile,
And she does it as soon as they leave. Stupid.
Meanwhile, Linger,
Meanwhile, linger.
are you then heading upstairs to the next level, or are you continuing on in the flora and fauna?
She's a smart cookie. She's already scanned this area for anything that's needs her attention. So up she goes, up, and away.
You head up.
To
And it's sort of split into kind of two distinct sections. There is sort of the planetarium itself, and this discussion of Erroth and the wider crystal sphere. And the other section leads to the observatory, so that any light that's needed for the exhibits in the planetarium or any atmosphere for the planetarium doesn't interfere with any atmosphere or lights or anything that's needed for the observatory. And as you head in, there is kind of a large globe in the center, but rather than being kind of one full piece, it is 3 separate distinct chunks of Erroth, which Linga would know has been done to very, very dramatically represent what is known as the crossing point, which splits Erroth into 3. And as far as most people know or are aware, drops off into complete nothingness, because people have tried going down there, and as far as people know, no one's ever come back. Which is why we have airships now, because you've got to cross it somehow. Can you give me an investigation check, please, Linga?
Sure.
For the stuff that you're looking for.
Say, character. A 21.
The secrets of the universe are laid bare to Linga.
She finds the secret journal about planar travel that they didn't know was still on display.
Well, there is, funnily enough, talk about both. It's kind of a display of what we know about the world of Erroth, and kind of everything wider. And you get the sense, as you're looking around, the Silent Isle, whilst it's technically considered part of Azith, doesn't appear to be either entirely or as heavily regulated by Azith in general, or the factions that govern it. Maybe they haven't made it here, maybe they've been rejected, who knows, but Linga is hooked. There is discussion of how other areas of Erroth refer to such things as heresies, and how it's not often discussed in civilized conversation. However, it does appear that on the Silent Isle, scholarly discussion of these sorts of theories is not necessarily discouraged. So, as you make your way around, there's a lot of discussion of kind of the creation mythos of the world, which I don't know if I've put it in the journals in general, but I can dump it into a journal entry if people want, rather than spout off the entire creation lore, because it is quite a big one. Suffice it to say, in the beginning there was nothing, and then there was the Lord Primordial, who created most things. There is discussion of the chaos of elements that various planes were created and formed from. This, of course, led to the creation of other gods to kind of watch and rule over these things and make their own creations of similar, as the Lord Primordial retired to its watching place, where it could observe as everything unfolded. And the gods basically went wild from there. There's kind of talk of the establishment of Erroth, and how as the various gods disagreed on how things should occur, they splintered into two separate factions. And they started kind of taking ownership over various planes or drawing power from various planes up to the point where the War of the Gods was sparked. And as large-scale fallout was occurring across the world with significant ramifications, and there is diagrams of the Silent Isle as it was kind of a few hundred years ago and as it is now, with these kind of massive cracks in various areas, ruinous giant crevasses. And it's a similar story across Azith as a whole, which is again how the crossing point came into existence. There is talk, and I would say Linger's potentially come across discussions of these sorts of things in her previous school years. They wouldn't necessarily have been forbidden, but discouraged outside of certain environments, certain lessons, certain lectures. There were places where it's okay to talk about it because it's doing it in scholarly pursuit.
Yes,
and
very
there
much.
is...
Back in my day, we were allowed to talk these things.
There is talk of an event known as the Sealing, where the various planes that were once accessible were sealed, is the prevailing theory, because the theory that follows that is that any and all knowledge of the plane's existence was either forgotten by time or deliberately wiped by the same Lord Primordial that it is theorized sealed the planes in the first place. There is discussion of weak points around Erroth where the sealing barrier is thinner than it is elsewhere, and it's potentially possible to fracture it and access other planes. There is talk of insane wizards in the past who have attempted to breach the barrier and either never been seen again or gone completely insane, prattling on about reflections and seeing themselves millions of times over. It would certainly catch your eye, given that Linger's eye is being kept peeled for this sort of thing. There is a discussion of the possibility that it wasn't a random attack which hit Belyka. And there's kind of a few... It's almost like one of the... I'm trying to think of it, the words I'm looking for. There's like a small lectern with like a ring-binded selection of parchments which have kind of various theories that have been produced and reproduced throughout the years. There is talk of a leader of this construct army known as Phylacus, who brought an army of constructs to destroy his hometown after betraying his own home. And it is theorized that this was not necessarily done by chance, it wasn't an act of revenge. Obviously, some theories were it's an act of revenge, some theories were an act of domination, an act of ruling, but given that the entries also state that he seemed to vanish after this, there is discussion of the possibility that perhaps Belyka is one of the places where these barriers draw thin, and he sacrificed all the lives therein in some sort of insane ritual to try and cross the plains and was never seen again.
Okay, ritual.
shit.
Yeah.
But with that revelation, let's go ahead and take a very quick break. One,
All
to
right.
allow everyone to get some notes down. Two, to allow people to digest some stuff. And three, so that
Me
we can
too.
all go for a pee as well.
Yeah.
This orange juice is not strong enough, Mitch.
Some stuff right there.
Just you wait, buddy.
Hmm.
Anyway, we'll be right back.
Woohoo!
Goodbye. Hello. We're back from the break, but unfortunately we've had some stuff come up in the background, so we are going to have to leave it there for this session. So I do have to extend a big apology to Max, who turned up an hour and a half late to the session to now be told that the session is ending. Yeah, we're ending it. For those of you who can't hear, because I don't think you will be able to hear what's happening in the Zoom chat at the moment, because it's on just DM chat, with no audio coming from everywhere else. We have all unanimously agreed that the only reason we're ending the session is because Max has arrived. But yes, thank you to everyone who came along and watched. We did have some big lore drops regardless. We will still be putting the VOD up for the session. It will still go up on YouTube, because it then means Maywood can watch it back and learn everything that everyone else learned. But yes, thank you very much for coming along, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this shorter session, and we will be back next week, where I will be fucking shit up, because we'll have Chester back with us, and I can do the big thing I was gonna do this session, so keep an eye out for that one. Goodbye. Bye.